Good morning. I'm Mrs.D.Maithra, Assistant Professor in Department of Commerce with Information Technology. Now I'm going to discuss a topic on elements of cost and cost concept. Here in each and every business, there is a cost structure which is very critical in decision making, pricing and profit management. So the elements of cost, foundation of cost accounting are used to categorize and analyze the expenses incurred in producing goods and services. So the elements of cost accounting is mainly representing the primary building blocks of each and every product's total cost, encompassing with a material, labor, and overhead. By classifying the cost into these categories, business can gain deeper insights into how the resources are consumed. They can identify the areas for cost control and make informed financial and operational decision. So here the elements of cost are divided into three categories. One is material, labor, and expenses. So we have elements of cost. We have classified the material, labor, and expenses. So each material is divided into direct material, indirect material. Labor is also classified into direct and indirect labor. Expenses is also classified into direct and indirect. So in indirect expenses, we can classify into different four overheads. One is production overhead, administration overhead, sales overhead, and distribution overhead. So here material cost. So direct and material, the substance which are used to make a product is known as material. So the material is classified into two: direct material, indirect material. So the direct material is a part of finished product. So the material cost can be conveniently identified with the allocated to a product, particular product or a job. It is a part of prime cost. Next, indirect material, material which do not form a part for finished product. The cost of indirect material cannot be identified with and allocated, and it can appropriate to a particular product. Next, labor. So for conversion of raw material into finished product, human efforts is needed. Such human effort is called labor. So labor is divided into two categories: direct labor and direct material. Labors which are directly engaged in the production of goods and services is called direct labor. It is also a part of prime cost. Indirect labor, the labor who does not engage in the production or goods or services, it helps in direct labor engaged in production, is called uh, indirect labor. Next one is expenses. So expenses are classified into direct or chargeable expenses. All expenses other than direct material and direct wages, they are directly charges to production or direct expenses. It is also a part of prime cost. Indirect expenses that are not directly charged to your production are called indirect expenses. It is divided into four categories. One is factory overhead, administration overhead, selling overhead, and distribution overhead. So factory overhead, it is used for manufacturing the overhead or work cost. It covers all the indirect expenses incurred for stage of raw material to finished goods. It include indirect material, indirect wages, and indirect expenses. Next, administrative overhead. These expenses are incurred for running an administration office. Example: office rent, salary, printing and stationery, legal expenses. Next, selling overhead. These are the expenses incurred for actual sales and promotion of sales. Example: salary, for manager, commission and for traveling expenses. Next, distribution overhead. These are the expenses which concerned with the packing and delivery of goods to the customer. Example: packing charge. Next one is elements of cost. So here prime cost can be identified with the help of formula: direct material plus direct labor plus direct expenses. Direct material, how we can calculate: opening stock of raw material plus purchase plus expenses on purchase minus closing stock of raw material. So factory cost, prime cost plus factory overhead. Cost of production, factory cost plus administration overhead. Cost of sales, cost of production plus selling and distribution overhead. Next, cost concept. So here first one is cost unit. It refers to the unit of a product or services or time which the cost may be ascertained or expressed. In other words, the cost per unit is varying from industry, and other than one type of product have more than one cost. Cost center. A business is divided into a number of departments for administrative convenience. The divided into smaller divisions of cost ascertainment and control. The smaller divisions are called cost center. For example of cost center: production cost center, service cost center, personal cost center, impersonal cost center, operation cost center, process cost center. Next one is profit center. Profit center is responsibility center, which accumulate both cost and revenue. In other words, it is the department or segment of the organization which we can assigned to have a control over both revenue and cost. Thank you.